It was a warm May afternoon in 1928. Manhattan buzzed with its usual noise, while inside a small apartment, the Budd family lived between poverty and fading hope. Their eldest son, 18-year-old Edward Budd, desperately wanted to support his family, so he placed an ad in the newspaper. Wanted, farm work, strong young man available. The very next day, an elderly man arrived at their door. With a soft voice, white mustache, and gentle smile, he looked completely harmless. Carrying a basket of strawberries and cheese like a kind old neighbor, he introduced himself as Frank Howard, a wealthy farmer, a generous gentleman, someone who seemed carved straight out of a comforting storybook. Within minutes, he had won the entire family's trust. He offered Edward a good job, praised his character, and subtly made the family feel as though luck had finally knocked on their door. Then, with the same soft tone, he asked permission to take their 10-year-old daughter Grace, dressed that day in her pure white communion dress, to his niece's birthday party. Grace looked like a little princess, glowing with innocence. Believing the old man to be kind and trustworthy, her parents agreed. Grace kissed her mother goodbye, held the old man's hand, and walked out of the door, not knowing this would be the last time anyone saw her alive. Days passed, then weeks, then months, but Grace never returned. Hope weakened, then shattered completely. By the time 6 long years had passed, the Budd family lived in a constant ache, a silence more painful than any truth. Then, one cold evening in 1934, a mysterious letter arrived. Edward opened it casually, but within moments his screams echoed through the house. The letter described horrifying details about Grace, details no family should ever hear. That letter became the turning point of the case. A tiny mark on the envelope, NYPCBA, was the only clue. But that small trace led detectives from a flop house to an old boarding house on December 13, 1934. When the police knocked, the same old man opened the door, smiled calmly, and said, "I've been expecting you." His real name was not Frank Howard. It was Albert Hamilton Fish. The search of his room uncovered tools, notes, and evidence so disturbing that even seasoned officers struggled to breathe. Fish confessed to what he did to Grace, and then continued describing countless other crimes, speaking with a calmness that chilled everyone present. His past, his twisted thinking, and his confessions painted a picture of a man who wasn't just dangerous, but a living nightmare in human form. In 1935 his trial began. The jury took less than an hour to declare him guilty. He was sentenced to die in the electric chair at Sing Sing prison. On January 16, 1936, he sat in the chair with the same eerie peace on his face, as if he were about to experience something exciting rather than his own execution. After his death, another letter was found, a long list of names and unspeakable acts. Many pages remain sealed even today because the details are too horrifying for the public. The most terrifying truth was this: the harmless-looking old man with a kind smile, the one who walked into the Budds' home carrying strawberries, destroyed their family forever. Grace Budd's parents died without ever learning where their daughter was really buried. They left this world carrying only one painful question: why did they trust that gentle-looking stranger? This case still haunts history as a reminder that sometimes the softest smile hides the darkest soul.